So, this is what is the role of consultant in OD. So, in this, what we do is we take a look at what are the consultative approaches which one has in this process, in the OD process. Fundamentally, it boils down to finding work for the consultant and then it's working with client. So that is what the consultants do in a very basic way of or the consultative approaches which are taken by the consultants. So let us first find out what is finding work. Identification of projects or clients can happen externally by means of word of mouth, networking, prior employees and websites, and requests for proposals. So these are the primary ways in which the consultants find work. Outstanding work of an organizational development professional. So first one which we actually take is the word of mouth. So in word of mouth, outstanding work of an organizational development professional normally does not go unnoticed, and hence word of mouth is a main way in which OD professionals can get referral work. So they can actually get referral work from word of mouth. This approach is low cost and effective, leads to not fewer projects with non-processes. Because it is very low cost, it is very effective, it does not lead to fewer projects. There will be plenty of projects with non-processes. Project failure is the negative impact of word of mouth. So there is also a negative impact. If the project fails, then the word of mouth is not a good way because people know that this project is failed and this consultant was in that project. So it gives not a favorable opinion about the consultant. So project failure is a negative impact of word of mouth, since the commitment by client to an OD effort may affect the OD process. Hence, the consultant will be forced to work on an alternative that is mostly incorporating a guarantee into the contracts. So they actually keep a guarantee into the contracts. What if the project is a failure? That's also covered by this guarantee. Next method of finding work is networking. So networking is made possible by relationships and by connections from professional organizations, OD Institute, ODC development centers, division of Academy of Management, community organizations, which are boards, religions, groups, etc., or in community organizations, for example, Rotary Club, Chamber of Commerce, etc. So that's the second method of doing this, that is networking. The third method is prior employees. So an employee who leaves an organization can work as an OD professional owing to the expertise he has working in the project or prior projects, as well as due to the grasp of work that he has, as it may bring up requirements or scarcity of requirements about quality work. So that is actually prior employees. That is one other way of finding work for the consultant. The next one is through websites. So clients normally need to take actions to attract potential clients to consultants, and that is usually done by the construction of a consultant's website. So inviting people in the network to visit consultant's website through list servers may increase normally a consultant's hit rate or the hit rate of the consultant's website. So by websites, they actually promote or try to find work. That is one other way the consultants try. Information should be ideally showcased in a consultant's website stating the organization's mission and values, information on key personnel, kind of work undertaken by the consultant, a list of previous clients, description of cases encountered, publications that consultant has authored, an opinion piece in a daily or newspaper. So these are some of the ways in which consultants actually project their work in a website. And using this website, clients know what the consultant do and what are his expertise areas, and gradually would end up in offering a job as or in a consultative capacity to the consultant. So any products that the clients have for sale also is kept as a showcase item in these websites. Testimonials from previous clients, etc. So that is websites. Next one is request for proposals. So request for proposals is an abstract of information published by the organization inviting proposals from consultant on the work that is already determined by the organization. Normally, RFP or request for proposal get published in list servers, websites, classifieds, and government publications, or in newspapers. So here what the consultants do, consultants may write proposals to determine work and to cover the determined path of the process landscape. However unethical it is, it shall not run into the risk of exposing their own ideas very many times to the same organizations. So there is a pitfall for this method of approach, request for proposals. Most of his ideas or a consultant's ideas may come in the request for proposal, and there is a risk that he may be exposing his original ideas to a lot of clients, which is the risk which is encountered in request for proposals. So that is all about finding work. Now next is working with client. Presenting problem and conflict resolution workshop. So another aspect in the case of a consultant and client working together along with organizational members is the existence of presenting problem. Truly progressive organizations will recognize the need for continuous improvement in work undertaken by the consultant, and in relationships that should strengthen and demarcate client-consultant relationships. So an organization is most likely to call the consultant in order to assist when they think they have a problem that needs fixing. It is not unusual for the client to think that the organization knows what the problem is and what it will take to fix the problem. This scenario is called presenting problem. So presenting problem is actually a problem which is not unusual for the client to think that organization knows what the problem is and what it will take to fix the problem. So here department managers not working well and disagreeing prompts the consultant to conduct a conflict resolution workshop, which itself is the solution for determining the presentation problem or the presenting problem raised normally by the client. So that is presenting problem and conflict resolution workshop, which is a workshop which is conducted by department managers when things don't work well. And it prompts the consultant, actually the consultant conducts it, the conflict resolution workshop, which is itself a solution for determining the presenting problem raised normally by a client. So here the presenting problem gets addressed in a conflict resolution workshop. Who conducts the workshop? It's the consultant who actually conducts the workshop. Next is conducting mini assessments. Once the presenting problem is on the table, the client needs to ask questions and trust the consultant's intuition and previous experience, helping the client determine the accuracy of a client's diagnosis. Normally, the presenting problem is not the actual problem. Hence, after diagnosis, which is a step which is undertaken in the OD process, the consultant should encourage a proper dialogue or conversation or communication in the conflict resolution meeting, finding out the cause of disagreement from the point of view of the department managers. This should be done in such a way that it would prompt the consultant for action or charge a behavior that is causing the preset problems. So that is what is done in mini assessments, conducting mini assessments. Also, a consultant would aggravate the tension and conflict when a conflict resolution workshop is in progress. Because of some opinions, because of some of the viewpoints taken by the consultant, it may aggravate the conflict which is getting discussed in a conflict resolution workshop, until the client is made to react in a way knowing the root causes of the problem and to an extent convey fragments of cause analysis descriptions, inviting discussions and supporting stance from the organizational members. Everything of these sorts happen in mini assessments. Next is contracts. Once the client and OD professional, who is an internal OD professional or external OD professional, the external is a consultant, decide they want to work together, they articulate a contract or a letter of agreement or a memorandum of association. One contract may specify the analysis phase and the other may specify the implementation phase. The roles need clarity when articulating letter of agreement or memorandum of association. The outcomes generally reflect analysis of organization and convey a second contract that will be the scope of in the scope of project deliverables and focuses. So that is contracts. Also, the desired timeline is left to the drafter of the contract. However, the drafter of the contract is cautioned that he should be extremely careful as it involves penalty clause for non-performance. Because the work of the OD professional depends upon cooperation of the personnel from within the client organization, timeline is not solely in the hand of the OD professional. Confidentiality revolves around the time period until which the information be kept confidential or so determined while drafting of the contract. Here, the client also wants to know how many personnel from the consultant's organization will be needed and how long their services will be used by the organization. Contract also determines the fees and expenses that need to be reimbursed, normally on an hourly basis or on the basis of the project which is undertaken. Thank you.